Okay, we're gonna flint knap the Mookaite with some new tools. Hold on. I'm gonna try out the copper indirect sticks. What are copper indirect sticks? Let's find out. All right. I already know what they are, but you don't. Some of you don't. You just clicked on it because you saw the Mookaite. What is Mookaite? It's this. It's an Australian chert that's highly prized, and in a heat-treated form like this, heat-treated, it is very nice to knap. Yeah. It gets what we call buttery. It gets buttery. Okay, this is gonna make me sweat. I'm already starting to heat up. It's a very expensive stone, so hold on. I gotta take my jacket off. Okay. All right, so this whole episode is gonna be anxiety ridden, but it's good. Yeah. When is it not? You might ask. Very rarely is it not anxiety ridden on video. Now, if I'm just doing it on my own, no pressure, it's relaxing. It gives me peace. But on video, it's a whole different ballgame. Okay. What am I doing? I've got to make sure there's no edges that are delicate, because I'm going to be pounding on the edges with my new copper indirect stick with a flexible holding thingamajig. Yeah, this is flexible down here. Yeah, let's drill down. I guess so. Only to there, halfway. I can use the rod by itself, but I'm going to try it with this flexible portion. All right. Where did I get it? I got it from Dany Collins, Lithics and Leather. Yeah. See one of the previous videos. Yep. Oh, I can already tell. The copper indirect stick is going to spoil me. I haven't used it in a long time. I started out using a lot of copper indirect tipped tools, which is, these are horizontal punches, and I call them supported horizontal because they're supported well. That does not fall away when you hit it. It stays put, and you can do multiple hits because it's supported. In this case, behind my knee. I support it behind my knee. All right, that's why I call it a supported horizontal punch. Punch because it's an indirect flaker, indirect percussion flaker, indirect for short. So with a combination of copper flaker and Mookaite. Yeah, there was an issue there with that little spot. A combination of copper and Mookaite, it should be sweet. I might have spoken too soon though. I had to get close to that obstacle, and in the process of getting close, I found a flaw. Yeah. Let's snap through there. See what happens. See if it removes it. Ready? Voila. Okay. It is removed. Everything else looks hunky-dory. So now I can relax on that one, even though I've lost quite a bit of width. What am I going to make? I don't know. I've got to remove the ground down surface on this side because it looked like it was a big slab that got whittled down a little bit because it's kind of thick. Right now, let's see. These flat surfaces are not easy to remove, so I'm hesitating. Hold on. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. So I need plenty of meat to nap across there. It's also gonna become convex. All right. This is the. I gotta shoot flakes to the center, but I don't want to do it too soon because it could dive in. The more narrow it is, the better. That way it has a better chance of just being much easier to nap across. When it's narrower, it's easier to nap across without having to worry too much about diving or step fracturing. Okay, so I have to think of a way to narrow this, but not too much. I don't want to narrow it too much and then end up with it being too thick, because nobody wants to see a video of me making a thick point unless it's a specific type. I'm thinking about doing some wonky point videos just so I don't have to keep focusing on thinness and perfection, or as close to perfection as I can get without driving myself nuts. And some people say you're not even close to perfection. You're just a clown. Yeah, literally a clown. Okay, well, I try. I tried to be a clown, yeah, and I try to do the best I can on the video. Yeah. All right. But I'm going to start making some wonky points on video because that's how they used to make them back in the day. You know, I don't want to contribute to the myth of the perfect point. And the perfect point is the ideal. No. The perfect point was very rare. Most of the time they were utilitarian, which means I just used them for everyday tasks. And they were probably made in groups, like you'd make 10 at a time or 5 at a time. So you weren't too concerned with the perfection of each one. You just wanted to get the numbers done. You know, I need to get 5 done today, or 3 done today, or 20 of them done today. Who knows? Who knows how fast they were getting these things done? And when you got that much production to do, you don't want to be spending all day on one point, making it perfect. 1, it doesn't help the hunting. And number 2, you don't got time. All right. Yeah, back in the day, there's too much other stuff to do than to be spending all day Flintknapping. Now, larger groups, they can afford to support full-time nappers. The larger the group, the easier it is to support a full-time napper, because all you need to do is get a little bit of food from everybody, and you know, the napper will be fed, and you can continue napping without having to look for food or go hunting or whatever. Okay, so I smoothed it out a little bit. Now I gotta start thinking about running some flakes inward. Yeah, so this works pretty good. I'm noticing that it's a little bit uncomfortable for me because I'm not used to a thick. I'm used to a thin rod these days. All right, so I'm clamping it too hard, so I got to loosen up on how I clamp on it. You know, that's the only thing so far. Otherwise, it's working great. It's a little bit flexible like it's supposed to be, but it might be a little bit too flexible for me. But it's a good thing to not have any resistance there because it allows you a more powerful strike. Yeah, it does allow you a little bit more powerful strike when there's no resistance. But I like a lot of support because that allows me to pull. This is a little bit flexible, so you can't put as much pressure on it before the strike. So this is not really good for pressure-assisted percussion when it's flexible down here. If you are accustomed to adding a lot of pressure prior to percussion, or what I call pressure-assisted percussion, then you might not like it. Okay? You'll have to scoot this back further, and then you can get, then you can really lean into it with some pressure and then do the percussion. But if it's way out here, it gets really flexible, which is okay for non-pressure assisted percussion. Yeah. So yeah, I got both these from the same guy. The stone and the percussion flaker. Now, I didn't modify the tip at all before I started. I like them rounded like this, so I didn't have to do anything to it. And pretty soon, I'll have to do something to it. Because copper is like aluminum, it dimples easily, and I had to keep dressing it up to make sure there's no rocks embedded in the tip. With steel, the rocks don't become embedded, or I should say little chips don't become embedded as easily. But with a softer metal, rock chips will become embedded in the tip, which makes the flaker less effective. Yep. Why does it make it less effective? It's just the properties of the material. The more rock chips embedded, the less it grabs onto the edge. It just kind of, slips off. You might ask, well, it just rocks embedded in it. Isn't it like a hammerstone with little chips in there? It might be, but I don't think it's the same dynamic. You know what I'm saying? And I use the word dynamic without even knowing what the definition is. It just seems like a good word to use. But it doesn't have the same effect while using it. Even though the tip of the flaker may become embedded with stone, it doesn't seem to have the same effect as a stone when I'm using it. So while using it is the dynamic part. It's while using it, it doesn't seem the same. If you look at it and it's fully encrusted, then yeah, it's like a stone because it's fully encrusted with little pieces of stone. But while using it, it doesn't feel like a piece of stone. Okay? Okay. I gotta be careful. This stuff naps so sweetly. Yep. That's what gets me nervous. Once I start to get thin, if it starts to step fracture, or if I make a mistake, I should say, then I'm screwed because I won't be able to remove the step fracture if it gets too thin. But I got to thin it down a little bit. Do I? No, I don't have to thin it down a little bit. Let's just take it. Let's take the width down a little bit more so I can run some flakes more easily across the surface. Okay. Is that lighting okay? It seems to. Sometimes the lighting is not so good in the shop. I'm trying to do the lighting stuff. I need to do some more photography stuff. Research how to do the lighting, the videography, and the photography. Yeah, I'm not a photographer because it drives me nuts. Yeah, there's very few things that don't drive me nuts. You'll notice that everything drives me nuts. And photography, I would be a photographer if photography wasn't so completely and utterly and excruciatingly agonizing for me. Yeah. I can't do photography. It just drives me completely up the wall. Unless I just say, I'm just going to take one picture and that's it. I'm not even going to tweak it. Then I can do it. But if I had to start tweaking the photos, no. Nope. I'm not going to do it. The tweaking never ends. I tweak forever. I've been known to sit there and try to photograph. First of all, do the initial photograph, because I'll take 100 shots of something, and then I'll go back and I'll try to tweak the best photos. And then I'll say, okay, I'm done for today. And I go back the next day and look at it with fresh eyes. And I'm going, this is not a good photo. For all the work I put in, I might as well just take one shot. And that's it. I've got like 100 shots and 4 hours of work into one photograph. And I don't like it. Yeah. It becomes boring, just like a perfectly made arrowhead. With nice patterning and absolutely no step fractures and smooth and clean. It just looks boring. I don't find any visual interest in the perfection. It's got to have a little bit of character to it. Yeah. Okay, I gotta focus and be very careful here. I'm gonna lose some length little by little because the tip is not centered. Alright, so I can get that done. See, I'm not running flakes halfway yet, and I don't want to hit harder than I'm hitting now. Yeah, see what happens if I hit really hard, it removes way too much. Yeah, I took a risk there for sure because it's right there near the edge, but that was just way too easy. I just hit it just slightly more than I was hitting it before, just slightly harder, and it just whoosh, wiped out that whole bottom edge. So that's what would happen if it'll overshoot if I strike too hard. And trying to judge how not to overshoot but still get a long flake, that's one of the hardest things to do in flint napping. The skill is not overshooting, but almost there. To get almost all the way across is the greatest skill. It's not the overshot, and it's not the halfway. It's the flake that almost overshoots, but doesn't. That's the highest skill level. And it's also where there's a lot of luck involved. So both skill and luck are involved in that long flake. Almost goes all the way across, but not quite. Okay? Took me years to get these kinds of flakes to travel without messing things up. Yeah. That was unfortunate down there. That can be considered an overshot too. Okay. At least it got a little bit thinner. I gotta do another pass. Hopefully I have enough meat on the edge there. Yeah, I should be able to get a good pass of flakes to meet up here somewhere. Meet up with the other. This copper is working pretty good. Yeah. No complaints at all. It's probably making it possible for me to do this without too much trouble. That copper is really grabbing the edge. Let me put my glasses on. I don't even have my glasses on yet. That's how excited I was about working this. Let's see if it did it. Yes, we got rid of that. We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. Okay, so that went... That was good. That didn't ruin it. It didn't. Yeah, it almost went halfway. Very similar to the distance I get on the other side too. Alright. So that means everything's going okay. No surprises. Let's see what it did that time. What did it do? Did it do it? I think it removed the last remnant in one fell swoop. Voila. Yes, it did. I'm happy about that. Very, very happy. All right, so now it's just a matter of thinning it further and then complete some type of point out of it. For the auction, yes. Now, am I going to make an Australian point? Nope. I'm going to make an art point. Mm-hmm. Yep. Artistic. If I don't break it. Not like that. Not like that. Come on. I'm trying to just take little bites, but it doesn't like it. Little bites because I'm hitting the base and I don't want to snap this whole thing in half. So I gotta be careful down here. Yeah, I'm not using any pressure assist. It's too flexible for pressure assist the way I've got it held. Like I said, I had to back it way up if I want to get a firmer grip so I can do a pressure assist. Other than that, it helps to drive flakes quite easily because it is flexible. It is very flexible. Okay. So you've got, if you like the flexibility, you've got a firm grip on it and it's still flexible. Okay. Yeah, the copper looks like it's making it easier. I don't feel any slipping at all. That helps. The steel will slip on the edge slightly, and you'll get miss strikes. Strikes that don't go anywhere. But this one, with the copper, I'm not feeling very many miss strikes at all. So it always does something. Just going to remove a flake of some sort. Okay, let's see. I do feel like I want to put some pressure assist on this. So I'll back it up. For longer flakes, sometimes it's good to do the pressure assist. It's just risky. Because if you put a pressure assist and you go like that by accident and hit the workpiece with the mallet, you're in big trouble. Yeah, good thing is I can turn this to get a fresh spot. On an important strike, you want to get a fresh spot on the metal, so you don't run into any problems. Yep. See if it did it. Yeah. I like those. And I can make a little arrowhead out of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't get too confident though, because you know what happens. I don't want to thin it down too much. Or I don't want to try to thin it down too much, because you know what happens. Yep. I'll do it. I'll do it as thin as I can with the skill that I have for videos. My videos skill is different than my solo skill when I don't have to worry about being on video. Yeah, it is different. You are seeing a view or a skill that I've developed for videos. It's different than my other skill off camera. But I'm going to start making wonky points on camera, so it won't be slightly different. It'll be the way I normally nap. That way you can see the way I normally nap, and it's also less of a pain for me. Less sweating. Yeah. Some of you might ask, why do I braid such a large surface when I'm not hitting the whole surface? Well, eventually I will be hitting the whole surface. Yep. Eventually I will be. That's why. I'll either be hitting it with pressure or with percussion. Hitting it with pressure doesn't sound right, but that's... you know what I mean. It's easier to say, so you know what I mean. Okay. So I was thinking about that today. I need to do some videos where I'm not going to care. I'm going to care even less about being perfect, or care even less about doing it right, quote unquote, doing it right. I'm gonna go the other way. I've been trying to get it more quote unquote right, but I'm gonna start going the other way. Yeah, I am not enjoying it. Trying to get these pieces as thin as I possibly can get them in a procedure that is as organized as possible, with flakes that are as clean as possible. It's getting old. It really is. I don't enjoy it. I feel it's overcompensating when I do that. It doesn't need to be that perfect. What am I overcompensating for? I don't need to. I mean, a lot of people want to see it. That's the only reason why I do it, is because some people are struggling with it. They want to be perfect, and that's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay for you guys. I just find it to be I find it to be a pain, unnecessary, and rather aggravating. And it's not real either. It's like a performance. It's very rare to find actors who can perform and be believable. And the ones that are, they'll tell you that it's very difficult to achieve that. It doesn't come naturally. You've got to change your mindset, and some of them stay in character for a long time to keep their characters believable. Well, same with Flintknapping. If you're a performance-based napper and you're trying to be perfect, you've got to stay in character the whole time to be believable. If that's the way you nap. Maybe you do nap that way. I don't know. None of us have any way of knowing. Right? But sometimes it shows that you're overcompensating. But, you know, most people don't look at that sort of thing when they're looking at nappers. They just want to see how to do it. How do you do it? But keep it in mind that sometimes you won't be able to duplicate it, because what they're doing is they're changing their mindset to nap to a certain narrative or nap to a certain style. Like, if I were to nap a Cody point right now that has regular flaking, like an Eden, I would have to change my mindset completely and make it look natural. Try to make it look natural in order to provide you with a good performance. Now, I can fuss the whole way like I normally do, and it's not really that good of a performance, because you could tell that I'm struggling, because I'll say that I'm struggling. I'll say, I don't like doing it like this, and blah, blah, blah. But normally that's not discussed. I like to get down to the nitty-gritty and know exactly what's going on. And did they do it this way in the past? How are they doing it in the past? I do want to know how they're doing it in the past. And yeah, they might have been overcompensating in the past as well. They might have been doing some of it for show. But it was mainly in the result. It wasn't in the actual performance of the napping. I don't think they had audiences. And I don't think they had someone looking over their shoulder to correct them politically. Or correct them morally. They might have had somebody like that. I think most snappers back in the day worked by themselves or within little groups. Proprietary little groups. Without audiences. And they were just doing it for themselves. Not trying to please anybody. Not trying to nap to a narrative. Okay. So the tip is okay. 35 minutes. Should I cut it? Let's see what time is it. No. If it was a little bit later, I would cut it, but I got time. I help my dad get ready for bed. Do all the stuff he does before going to bed. Alright, so yeah, it's just me and my dad here in the house. He's getting old. It's nice and peaceful out here, for sure. I like it. Okay. Alright, what am I going to do? I don't need to do too much more. Let me get the pressure flaker. Do some more pressure flaking. I'm going to leave it a little thick. Yeah. I don't need to do too much more. I don't want to snap this. It's very easy to snap this stuff in half. If I start going a little bit thinner than this, I can already see it may snap. I think I can go thinner safely unless I do that. Some might say, are you already practicing for your wonky points? Yep. Already practicing for the wonky points. I'm already practicing my mistakes. Dang. Is that a weird spot or what? I can always blame it on it being a weird spot right there. But it's too much of a coincidence being near the tip. It's me and tips. I don't know what I'm doing. To this day, I don't know what I'm doing up here. All right, high power glasses. Something's keeping me from doing it right. Okay. Is that better? I don't know. It feels better. I don't know if it will be better. I gotta get used to pressure flaking this stuff. This stuff is... It feels like it's from another planet. Yeah, there's nothing that feels like this except for some of the high grade Dacite. Switching from a sharp to not so sharp. Back to sharp tip. I'm switching back and forth and it might be messing me up. I don't know. Okay, come on. All right. What do I got going on here? Too much grinding? Okay, so kind of back to where I started before I was thinking of thinning this more. So I'm not going to try to thin it very much. You might say, well, just learn from your mistakes and now you can thin it after learning from your mistakes. Yeah. Learning from the mistakes takes a little bit of time sometimes. It's not immediate. I only have this one piece of Mookaite. I think I might have a few more little pieces that I have left over as flakes from other pieces of Mookaite, other larger pieces like this. I've got smaller flakes around here somewhere from before this one. Yeah, it doesn't do me any good to leave it thick, does it? For some reason, it doesn't like to power through step fractures. Although it did before on a larger scale. On the smaller scale, it doesn't seem to like to power through the step fractures. And if I grind it a lot to try to get a powerful flake, it slips. It doesn't like it. Now, should I be using a copper pressure flaker? Maybe. Because it might grab the edge better. Yeah. You might ask, why don't I just switch over to all copper then and stop whining? Because I want to learn all aspects of knapping. Yeah. What does the human brain do in the face of dealing with inferior tools or materials? Yeah. Can the human brain adapt? And yes, it can. So then you got the question, well, if it can adapt, does that mean they always use the same tools? Every napper always used the same tool set to nap what he napped? The answer is probably not. Use whatever's available, not always the same tool set. Not only do you learn to use tools that might be more effective, you don't always have your sweet quote unquote sweet tools. The ones that work really well, you might not always have them available back in the day. Joe, what happened to your napping kit? You know what happened to it. Last time we wrestled that alligator, it fell in the water and it went straight to the bottom. Couldn't get it. Oh yeah. That was a pity. Why'd you bring it to the alligator hunt? Well, because you wanted me to sharpen your knife, dummy. Oh, yeah. And on and on and on. Okay. So, yeah, you might not always have your ideal situation. It does pressure flake rather nicely. Yeah, if I don't mess it up. Do I have a sweet set of tools? Natural tools? Not yet, but I will. I'm going to develop a sweet set. Yep. And I'm going to punish it with bad rocks. Because this is what everybody wants to see. They want to see perfect points out of bad rocks. How did they used to do it? They want to see perfect flint napping on bad rocks. Yeah. And I'm going to show you that it is possible to get close. But unless you're using good material, you're not going to get all the way there. You're going to kind of get close, but it's not going to look right because you're going to need some better material to get what you think it should look like. You used a bad rock, but it doesn't look like they made it back in the day. You're a loser. That's what people will say. You don't make good points out of bad rocks because you're a loser. And not because they used good rock back in the day. Well, I beg to differ. Not about the loser part, but about using better rock. I think they used better rock if they could to get those nice looking points. Yeah. Okay, am I getting tired or what? I'm still overheating. What temperature is it? It's like 58. I have a thermometer inside the shop now that gives me the exact temperature. If it starts going above 55, I start overheating. It's 58, so I'm right on the border. 55 reminds me of the speed limit. Once it's over 55, you're in trouble. I remember that. Okay, so I'm not going to do any more on the edge or to thin it down more. I don't want to break this. It's going to be available in the auction, and if you want to thin it down further, knock yourself out. Now, it doesn't need to be any further refined than this to be an effective hunting point. In fact, it's even stronger for hunting if you don't do anything to it, but sharpen the edges. If you leave the bottom edge ground down a little bit, it's perfect. Now, why they would put notches in, I think it's because the glue wasn't that great. And it wasn't. The natural glue is not that great. So you put notches in it to strengthen up the hafting area. But today's glues, you put that on with glue. Just haft it with glue, and it's perfect. It's beautiful. It works just great. You don't need notches these days. Okay. So what am I going to do on the notches? I'm going to do what I like doing. Yeah. The kind of notches that I like doing. Now, there's a couple of ways I like doing it. My favorite is the corner notches, but I also like the side notches. I just don't know which one I'm going to do. I mean, I like the low side notches or the corner notches. What was I thinking about the other day? Oh yeah, I was gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do. Hold on. All right, let's try this copper 1/4 inch. I'm going to thin the base out with a 1/4 inch copper. Hopefully it won't pull on the material. No, it doesn't feel like it's pulling on it. Feels just right. As long as I don't get too many step fractures. Okay. I gotta say, this Mookaite is heat treated just right. Not too much, not too little. I have had Mookaite that was not heat treated all the way to perfection. This one looks pretty darn good. It's just me that's messing this up. It's not the stone. I'm hesitating on hitting it, which is causing a loss of energy subconsciously. And yeah, I don't know what to do about it when that happens, okay? It's a subconscious thing, you just gotta deal with it. And make doo-doo with what you got. Did it do it? Yes. The hardest part of the flake to predict or control is the ending, and I was depending on the ending to wipe out that step fracture. So it's luck. Pretty much luck there. If I'm depending on the end of the flake to do my damage control, I'm going to keep repeating that. Because a lot of guys, they want to do damage control with the ending of the flake, and that's the hardest part of the flake to predict. That may be why you're not able to do damage control, because you may be doing most of your damage control with the endings of the flakes, with the terminations of the flakes. Most of the damage control should be with the middle of the flake, not the ending of the flake. So if you got an obstacle over here and you want to try to get it from this side all the way over there, you're depending on the termination of the flake to get that obstacle out of the way. That's extremely risky. It's best to hit it closer. That way you're getting rid of the obstacle with the middle of the flake, and the flake will travel past the obstacle. Okay? Okay. And I point to this one because that's a little booger that some people might want to flatten out, but I'm not going to. That's just an example. Okay? And I've got a step fracture right here. I do want to get that out because there's no excuse for that. So I'm going to send the flake in, but it's not going to be the ending of the flake that's going to take care of that. Theoretically. Yeah. I think I did it. Yeah, the ending of the flake in this case is up in here, and I didn't know I was going to go that far. I mean, there's no way to know where it's going to terminate exactly. You can kind of guess where it will terminate, but you don't know exactly. That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. There is a lump here on this side, which is not, it's not necessary. I can get rid of it. Yeah. I mean, there's no excuse. I can get rid of it if I'm careful, as long as I don't overdo it. There it goes. Yeah, as long as I don't get greedy and try to do the whole across the whole face. There he goes. Okay, so now I can continue with thinning the base. All that for just because I messed up there, and then I saw the lump. So now no more lump. And no more step fracture. I can get back to business. Yep. I've been feeling a little bit strange lately. I don't know if it's the meat I've been buying, but my stomach's been acting up. Maybe I'm buying a lot of meat on sale, so maybe I'm eating old meat. I hope that's not it, because that'd be a bummer. I bought a bunch of meat on sale. Hopefully that's not what's making my stomach upset. Hopefully it's just something that is something I catch from everybody else. You know, just little stomach bugs or whatever. I don't know. Oh yeah, I also changed my vitamins that I'm taking, so that could be it too. Sometimes that upsets my stomach. I've been trying to take some magnesium, and the pills I'm taking are magnesium oxide. So I've never taken those before. I've usually just taken some other kind of magnesium tablets. But this time I got the cheap stuff, and that might be making my stomach upset. I know that magnesium citrate is a laxative. Yeah. Have I been laxativized? No, it's not. It's not doing that. We'll see. I'm trying to get rid of some of the dull spots. Hold on. Yeah, I'm just picking at the edge. I don't want to do any fancy thinning on the edge and risk installing more step fractures, so I'm just picking at it. Is that what I wanted to do? It's not quite. I want it to be more of a point, but it's starting to remove too much. should I be talking during the notching? I probably should be, yes. That way you don't get bored. Or that way I don't surprise you when I start talking again. Yeah. Of course, some of you are already asleep. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit. What I'm trying to do is come up with a good side notch. Come on. Come up with a good side notch so I can finish this up. I wanted the diamond shaped base, but this is as close as I'm going to get. It's not going to be completely diamond shaped, I don't think. We shall see. I'm not even close to being there yet. Anything could happen. Yeah, that's not a good idea. Messing with the symmetry. I gotta watch the symmetry. Okay. So far, so good. Yeah, so far so good. It's still alright. It's a little bit off, but it's okay. I'll start doing points that are not symmetrical. Just wait. It's going to be great. I'll have some Karens come out of the woodwork. Hey, what happened to the nice stuff? You're going downhill. I can just already hear it. They won't say it in those words, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Yeah, this stuff is good for the pop outs. I like the way this does the pop outs. The material is cooperative. You know what I mean? It doesn't stall easy. You have to really work at it to stall it. Yeah. You really gotta mess it up good. So this side has deeper pop outs than that side, but I'm not gonna worry about it. What else can I do? I can make that base a little bit better. Yeah, it's off center a little bit. So while I'm correcting it, I can install some nice looking flakes. See, nice looking flakes. I think so. It's a little bit crunchy on this side. I don't care. Let's see now. Yeah, all this material is a little bit crunchy. This lighter color. What else can I do? I mean, with that point on there, it's not that easy to mount it as a necklace, but I like the point at the bottom. Let's see. I need to sharpen the barbs. That's what I need to do. And I'll use a spatula tool because it only removes small flakes. Reduces the risk of step fracturing. Yeah, I'm picking on it too much. Okay. I'm picking at it too much. Yeah, it'd be tempting to put serrations on it, but I'm not going to. No, I am not going to. And I'm not going to go deeper with the notches either. It's tempting to go deeper and make it more complicated. Yeah, I'm just messing with it now. That's what I tend to do. I just tend to mess with it and look to see what happens if I mess with it a little bit more. Sharp enough. Yeah, that's it. Good enough. I like it. So hopefully that was good. I'm just gonna offer it like this in the auction. Nothing spectacular, not super thin. I just like the material a lot. I like the way it flakes. Yeah, good enough. I like the way it turned out. Alrighty, that's it.